Hi, this is Melanie Sebastian with my Microsoft Office training videos. Today we're going to be looking at PowerPoint, and the tabs that we will be focusing on are transitions, animations, and slideshow. And we will be working through a geometrics activity that covers these three. And we'll actually only do about half of these 17 right now because it's kind of long. So let's get started. Number one, start recording from the beginning of the current slideshow. Okay, so anything that has to do with recording, that's going to be in the slideshow tab. And recording is when you are going to play through the slideshow on your own when you're editing this. And then when you go to play it, for some people, you can just let it play by itself. You don't have to worry about the clicking, and that you can even get it to record narrations, if you have audio plugged in. So very handy. Let's go ahead and click, and it says start from the beginning, so you can either do from the beginning or current, and in this case they're the same because we're on slide 1. And then you have some options, and we don't want to do laser pointer or narrations, and then it says go ahead, click through to the end, so we need to start recording, but make sure you leave this one checked, slide and animation timings. So we start recording, okay, and you can either click with your mouse, you can hit N for next, you can use the right arrow, I believe you can use the, I want to say down arrow also works, get to the end of the slide, or the end of the slideshow, and it tells you the total time. Do you want to keep these timings? Did you rehearse it up to your standards? Does it work, or do you need to do it again? And we're just going to say yes, we like the timings that we use. And then don't be afraid, it's going to bring you to a slightly different view. You know, it's going to be in slide sorter view, not in normal view anymore, but that's okay. And the upside of this is now we can see the timings on each of our slides. So this one we stayed on it for 10 seconds, this one we stayed on it for 1. And now if we played our slideshow from the beginning or from the current slide, it will automatically apply these timings. So it'll just stay for 1 second on this side, 1 second on this. That's what timings are for. And that's it for number 1. Let's move on to number 2. And of course it's kind of taking its sweet time. All right, so now we're going to set up a slideshow. And this, of course, is also going to be in the slideshow tab. And this is where we're getting ready to show our presentation. And we need to set it up for our individual needs. So go to Setup Slideshow. And there's a lot of options in here. One thing you'll notice that the first thing is show type. So are we speaking in front of an audience? Are we putting this in front of one person? Maybe you have made a PowerPoint and it has some type of little quiz in it, like it could be a fun quiz, whatever you've done. If you're a teacher, you've made a quiz for your students using PowerPoint. These things are possible, and so you could use this second option if someone's doing this on a computer and they're interacting and clicking. The last option here, browse at a kiosk. This is like at a mall. You've walked by the places where they get you to buy weird hand creams and whatever else. Sometimes you'll see they put up a little TV and there's this just running slideshow. And really this option, the main thing it does, it loops it continuously until someone hits escape. So that means the slideshow, you get to the end, it goes back to the beginning. It just keeps playing and playing and playing. Now, if you are in this mode, you can turn on that option as well if you want. So that's the show types. You can also change which slides you're showing. If you just want to do maybe from slide 2 to 3 or whatever it is, you can say, I want the slides to go using the timings, or manually. Manually is when you have to click or press. You can set up multiple monitors. You can change the pen color, the laser pointer color, and then you can say, I want to do my show without any animation or with, and then narration or with narration. Okay, so let's do what the problem says. It says browse by an individual and loop continuously and accept all other defaults. So I think I changed it up a bit, but these were the defaults, and we're good to go. Hit OK, and then when we play this, it's going to play according to these rules. So watch this. See how it's set up? And look at how it just loops back. Every time I click or press next, I'm never going to be able to escape, except if I hit the escape button. So that's that setting that we apply right here. Great, let's go on to number 3. And I apologize for the long wait time, and just is a little slow. Okay, this time go back to slideshow, and we're going to create a custom slideshow. So this is kind of similar to what we've been doing, but now we're going to create a certain setup. It's kind of like we're setting up a slideshow, but we're not setting it up to play it right now. We're putting in certain settings, and we're just going to give it a custom name, and then it saves that for later. So you are going to click this, then click on Custom Shows, and you're going to create a new custom show. And then under Custom Show, you can give it whatever name you like, and you can put whatever slides you want in whatever order you want. And you don't have to put all the slides. So for this custom show, we just want to see this slide called Practice Reading. Okay, so I click Add, and then another one called Practice Redig Questions. It looks like they had a typo, and I think that was on purpose because you're supposed to correct it later. Okay, so you add those two, and then click OK. And there it is. We've created Custom Show 1. And once you've done that, if you want to go back and edit that, click Edit. You can add more slides. If you want to remove it, you do that. If you want to make a copy of it, you click Copy, and then you have 2 copies, and you could change one of them. And then you can hit Show, see if it worked. Beautiful. That was exactly what we wanted. And then look, if you go back, it now has it saved, so then you can play through it again if that's what you need. All right, number 4. Now we're going to do some stuff with animations. So prepare yourself for the Animation tab. Okay, in the Animation tab, well, let's read our question first. Change the first animation on slide 2. Okay, so let's go to slide 2. And here's the thing. If you are in any other tab, you're not going to be able to see the animations. So you might say, there's no animations here. They're there. You just can't see them until you do this. And then they pop up. And they appear as little bitty kind of squared off or rounded off squares with numbers in them, and we want to change the first one. So the first one, of course, is number 1. Another way to access your animations is to go to Animations and open up the animation pane. And it's just an easy way for you to see what animations are going on, and it tells you, you see how they all have a name, it just tells you which item in the slide is being animated. So number 1 is Content Placeholder 3. And so that just means, I think these individual things right here, these boxes. Okay, so now we want to change it to have a 0.5 second duration. Well, what is that? Duration means how long something lasts. Don't mix that up with delay. So duration, how long does the animation last? Delay is, do I want to pause in between the previous animation and this one. Or, you know, this one's the first one, so do I want to pause between starting the slide and the beginning of animation number 1? Okay, so we don't want to delay this one. We want a 0.5 second duration. And now it's at 0.75, so we need to shorten it a little. Let's do this though. Let's preview our current one and watch what happens. Okay, so there it is. And let's change the duration. Let's just bump it down to 0.5 and watch if you can tell the difference. Yeah, a little faster. Okay, so we bumped down the duration and that was it. That is how you do animations. Nice and simple. All right, number 5. Okay, number 5, on slide 1, add the cash register sound to the first animation. All right, as you might have guessed, we should be in the Animations tab, and I can see I have 2 animations on the slide. I go to the first, and this is kind of in an obscure place. You're going to have to kind of dig here, because what you have to do, you're going to have to click on the animation pane, and you go, make sure you have the correct animation selected. Okay, there it is, number 1. You got to do the drop down and go to Effect Options. Okay, now under Effect Options, you can change all sorts of things, like the delay and the duration. And when does it start? Does it start by clicking, or does it start, you know, after the previous animation? Most of these things can be changed in the ribbon up here. But the sound is one of those really weird, obscure things that can't. You just gotta dig into the animation pane and come and find it in this weird dialog box, or this kind of out of the way dialog box. Okay, so anyway, sound is in the first section of this, the first tab. So click on Effect, Sound. They're in alphabetical order, easy peasy. You just click on Cash Register. Okay, and then let's see if we can preview it. I don't know if we're going to be able to hear it. Okay, and I couldn't hear it, and I think that's because I'm recording right now, so it didn't. That's why you can't hear it. But that's it. That's how you add sound to your animations. And I'm sure that I think that by right-clicking you can also get to those same options. All right, on slide number 1, apply the zoom animation. So go to Animations, and it's careful here. Apply the zoom animation to the title of slide 1. So that means don't just click on this and, you know, go to town. You have to select the title, and really it doesn't matter, you know, once you have clicked on this. So it could be you click on the box, and then you have all these options here, and don't despair if you don't see what you want. Just do this. There's zoom. Okay, the animations come in 4 different categories. There's entrance, emphasis, exit, and motion paths. And there's always more down at the bottom if you can't find what you're looking for. And entrance, how does it come onto the screen? Emphasis, does it do something cool once it's, you know, once it's there? Exit, how does it leave the screen? And motion path is just going to move around while it's on the slide. Okay, so 4 different categories. Just make sure you pick zoom. Voila, there it is, and you can watch it as many times as you want. There it is, and now you can see there's your little animation indicator. You have that little 1. And let's look at this. I'm gonna click on it. Okay, so no, you can't actually right-click to change anything. But let's say you did, remember, if you wanted to do things like add sounds while this animation is going on, you would have to open up this, okay, and options, and then there you could do sounds, and you can change depending on the animation. You know, some animations might have different options that you can get really picky with. You could you can turn on this option here. Where do you want the object to vanish from or to? So that's something new that we didn't see before. And then you can even do things like animate the text all at once, or by the word or by the letter even. So some really cool options that you have, and then you can change the delay in between. So there's some really obscure things that you can kind of root around in all these options and you can find. Once again, duration, how long does it last? Repeat, do you want it to repeat a few times until the next click, until the slide's over? Do you want it to rewind? When do you want it to start? Do you want it to start with the previous action? And in this case, the previous action means whenever the slide comes on. Or, if it was the second animation, the previous action is whenever the previous animation occurs. So you can change that. It's called the start. You can add these things called triggers, and trigger is kind of like start. And so you can say, I want it to start when I click on it, or whenever I click a bunch of times. That's what a click sequence is. So all these things are available to you if you play around in the options. A lot of these things you can get over here, though. You can change the trigger from right here. You can change the start right here, and the delay, and the duration, all that good stuff. Now, let me preview this and see. Okay, so we didn't do our by the letter option. Let's do that real quick and just see what it looks like. Effect letter. Okay, by the letter. Okay. So that was a lot different. We did it by the letter instead of all at once. So play around with your options, see what you can do. All right, let's move on. Let's finish up one more question on animations, and then this is getting long enough. I won't bore you any longer. Number 7, okay. On slide 4, let's go straight to slide 4. Apply the horizontal figure 8 motion path to the image. So there's only one image in here. You got to click on it. Go to animations. And motion paths, remember that's one of our 4 categories, and they're at the bottom. And a horizontal figure 8. So you might be scratching your head, well, I don't see the words horizontal figure 8. Well, you got to kind of think a little. And so you click on loops because a figure 8 is a type of loop. And luckily, I think that already qualifies as a horizontal figure 8. But we have this thing called effect options that's next to this big selection box. And so if you didn't want a horizontal figure 8, you could do a vertical figure 8, or this thing called a loop-de-loop. Okay, so those are the main options, and then you could even get more picky. You can do things like reverse direction path, where it travels backwards from how it currently is. You could do things like edit the points, where you can actually change how the loop looks. Okay, so let's watch this one, see. Whoa. Okay, and you can see the difference. And then you can change the origin. So you can, it's unlocked right now. Let's see, could we change that? Okay, and notice how it jumped to that point. But then you can come and lock it. Okay, so lots of options. Once again, that seems to be the theme. Well, really anything in Microsoft, you have lots of options, and you got to go in and play with it and see what is available to you, because it's almost impossible to show all of them. All right, and with that, I'm going to cut this off and watch the part 2 for some transitions and some additional animation and slideshow questions. Thank you for watching, and check out the other videos.